Gentlemen, let's start with a hard truth. By the time most women step into another man's arms, their heart and emotions have already left long before. The body just follows where the mind has been living. And most men, they don't see it coming until it's too late. That's why today, I want to show you something most men will never understand. The 5 sure signs she's falling for another man before she cheats. I need you to stay with me on this one, because what I'm about to share could save you from the most painful kind of heartbreak a man can experience. And before we dive in, if this is your first time here, subscribe now. Not just to follow the channel, but to be part of a space where men finally get the truths nobody else dares to tell them. Let's get into it. Sign number 1. A sudden obsession with her privacy. Every relationship begins with a rhythm, 2 people slowly becoming open books to each other. But when a woman starts emotionally detaching, she suddenly develops an obsession with her privacy. She guards her phone like it's her second soul. She changes her passwords without explanation. She takes calls in another room. And when you ask simple questions, she reacts defensively, as if your curiosity is an attack. Now, not every request for privacy means she's falling for another man. But here's the difference. When privacy becomes secrecy, that's when her heart has begun entertaining someone else. What's really happening here? In psychology, we call this emotional reallocation. Her emotional energy is shifting. She is creating a safe space, not for you, but for the new man who now excites her thoughts. And I'll be honest with you, this one is easy to miss, because most men excuse it. They say, she's just stressed, maybe she just wants her space. But when her privacy suddenly becomes sacred, it's rarely just about space. It's about someone else stepping in. Sign number 2. Change in validation needs. Let's talk about something subtle but powerful, validation. When a woman is invested in you, you are her mirror. She looks to you for reassurance, for compliments, for emotional acknowledgement. But when she's falling for another man, that shifts. Suddenly, your compliments feel like they bounce off her. She shrugs at your affection. She seems unimpressed by what once made her glow.
Why?
Because she's getting her validation elsewhere. It could be at work, in her social circles, or online. And when another man begins feeding her with attention, your validation loses its power. This is one of the most dangerous stages, because validation is oxygen in relationships. Once she breathes it in from another source, she no longer gasps for it from you. Here's the part most men struggle with. They react by over-validating. They try harder, more compliments, more gifts, more attention. But the more you try to give her what she's already secretly receiving from someone else, the less effective it becomes. Gentlemen, when you see this shift, don't ignore it. It's not just mood swings. It's her heart searching for affirmation beyond your arms. Let me pause here and say this. If any of this is hitting too close to home, don't just listen and nod. Take it seriously, because once these signs stack up, the story rarely ends well. And I want you to keep watching, because what I share next is the one that almost every man misses until it's too late. Sign number 3. Increased comparison syndrome. One of the clearest signs that a woman's attraction is drifting is subtle comparison. Suddenly, she's speaking about other men, a coworker who's ambitious, a friend who's funny, a stranger who's so kind. At first, you may laugh it off, but comparison is never casual. When a woman consistently points out the qualities of other men, she's signaling admiration, and admiration is the soil where attraction grows. Now here's where it gets dangerous. She doesn't even need to admit this attraction to herself. Sometimes, comparison is subconscious. But for you, the man who loves her, it's a red flag waving in the open. Psychologists call this projection of desire. When she highlights traits in others, she's indirectly telling you what she wishes she was feeling with you. This doesn't mean you rush to imitate those men.
No.
That will only make you look insecure. What it means is that her admiration is leaking outward, and admiration is the first stage before emotional investment. Gentlemen, I am Jane. And my role here is not to sweet-talk you, but to give you the truth no one else dares to spell out. These signs are not random mood swings. They are patterns. And once you learn to see them, you'll never unsee them again. Sign number 4. Shifts in digital behavior. Now, let's talk about something modern and undeniable: her digital behavior. Pay close attention to the small shifts. She used to scroll through her phone beside you, laughing at silly posts, showing you memes, maybe even handing you her phone without a second thought. But now, the screen tilts away. Notifications are suddenly silenced. Her phone is face down more often than face up. And it's not just about secrecy. It's about priority. When she begins protecting her digital world more fiercely than the relationship she's in, it's because that digital space holds the new source of her emotional energy. Psychologists call it microseparation. A woman doesn't usually walk out physically first. She disconnects in micro moments: the text she won't share, the smile at a message she hides, the sudden password changes. Gentlemen, don't dismiss this as "she's just private" or "everyone deserves their phone space." Of course, everyone deserves privacy. But when that privacy becomes the center of her new world, it's no longer about space. It's about someone else filling that space. I know this part stings, because technology is where most emotional affairs begin. And the worst part? It's silent. You won't hear the words exchanged. You won't see the glances shared. But you'll feel it in her detachment, in the way she guards that device like it holds her future. And listen, I want you to keep watching, because what I'm about to reveal in the next sign is the most intimate shift of all. It's the one that breaks men silently, because they know something has changed but they can't prove it. Sign number 5. Changed sexual energy. Sex is not just physical release. It is an emotional language. When a woman's heart belongs to you, intimacy feels alive, present, connected, magnetic. But when she starts falling for another man, her sexual energy shifts in ways you can't ignore. Sometimes it's a decrease. She becomes distant, uninterested, almost mechanical. The kisses grow shorter, the touches colder, the passion watered down. And sometimes it's the opposite. She suddenly initiates more, but it feels forced, hurried, almost guilty. Here's the truth. Both extremes point to the same root. Her emotions are no longer anchored in you. And here's where many men lose themselves. They interpret less intimacy as rejection of their masculinity and more intimacy as proof she's still invested. Both can be wrong. You need to listen to the energy behind the act, not just the act itself. Think of it this way: sex without emotional presence is a mask. And if she's masking, it's because something deeper is being hidden. This is the sign that hurts the most, because it's not just about losing her attention, it's about losing her essence. A woman can share her body while her soul is already with someone else. Now let me pause and speak to you directly. Not as a lecturer, but as if you were sitting across from me right now. If this feels hard to hear, I understand. It's never easy to face the thought that the woman you love may already be slipping away. But that's why I do this work. Not to shame you, not to scare you, to guide you through the fog. You are not alone in this. And I need you to really believe that. So many men carry the same fears you're carrying right now, silently, without anyone to lean on. And here's what you might not realize: your own story could save someone else. That's why I want you to leave a comment. Share the moment you first felt something wasn't right in your relationship. You may think it's small, but to another man watching, it might be the wake-up call he needs. That's how we grow stronger, by saying out loud what others hide. And if you've stayed with me this far, take a moment to like this video. Not just for the channel, but because every like tells me men are ready for real talk, not just surface advice. It tells me you want depth, honesty, and strength. Gentlemen, I am Jane. My purpose isn't to sell illusions. It's to hold up the mirror, even when it hurts. We've walked through 5 signs: her sudden obsession with privacy, her new hunger for validation, the sting of comparisons, the shifts in her digital life, and the change in her sexual energy. But listen, spotting signs is only half the battle. The real test is how you respond. I know the knot in your chest, the urge to check her phone, the fire to confront her. But don't let her confusion make you lose yourself. Her choices are not your verdict. Your worth doesn't rise and fall with her emotions. Step back. Observe without begging. Protect your dignity. It's the one thing you must never hand over. That's why this space exists. To remind you you're not alone. If this has spoken to you, subscribe now. Walk with us. Learn with us. Refuse to stay in the dark.